Are you getting a microstutter on iRacing that's just driving you absolutely bonkers? Now, I used to have a microstutter on iRacing. It crept in at the worst potential times, and I've completely eliminated it, and I'm going to help you eliminate it too. Now, this video does focus mostly on Nvidia cards, as that is what I run, but it should, because I've done my research, cover most things on AMD too. So if you're on either card on iRacing, this video is probably going to be very, very helpful. This is the easiest bit. Jump into iRacing, jump into a test drive so you're not affecting anybody else, settings, display, check that the resolution and refresh rate is the exact same as your monitors. Now if you want to double check what the resolution of your monitor is and its refresh rate, here we go. If you're on Apple, no, I'm just kidding. It should be similar to Windows. Press Start, Settings, System, Display, Advanced Display, and here you should see your resolution settings for the monitor that you have. As you can see, my resolution is 3440 by 1440 at 180 Hz refresh rate. So that's what I've set in iRacing. Before we go any further, I'm going to ask you to hit the like button and subscribe. I'm really new to this. And not only will it help me, it will also let you be notified the next time I go live and any future uploads that may help you improve your sim racing. Now that we've got the self-promotion out of the way, let's get to the nitty-gritty. By the way, if you did like or subscribe or even both, you're a damn legend. If you haven't and you have no intention to after the video, you know those stupid little shorts that children make where those silly monsters lay under your bed? Well, this is one of those. One tab to the right onto the graphics settings, you'll see graphics settings. Now before you start playing in here, I need you to understand one simple thing. A lot of these settings are very CPU bound, so before you go playing, I want you to consider what CPU you have. However, regardless of what these settings are, they will not cause a microstutter. They will, at best, reduce frames. So depending on what GPU and CPU combo you have, these are for you to distinguish and make sacrifices one way or another to whether you are going to play with high frames or low frames. Just an FYI, feel free to copy these settings. They are designed to put more load on the GPU without affecting the CPU too much. Scrolling down, we'll get to the important part. Yes, where the potential microstutter is likely to live. Everything on iRacing runs at 360 Hz per second. So that means you want your PC ideally running at something that's divisible into 360. So you'll notice that my frame rates are set at 120, so they go into 360 3 times. And if you noticed and looked at my display settings earlier, my refresh rate for my monitor is 180, which is ideal because it sits into 360 twice, which means my PC, my CPU, hasn't got much maths to do to be able to sit my frames and refresh rates into 360. So basically what I'm saying is, though 165 frames, for example, will look much better than 120, at some point, when the CPU is run 360 frames, it's going to have a lot of numbers left over, because 165 doesn't sit into 360, meaning that you're going to have an uneven frame pace for a second. In walks in microstutter. And if you're still struggling to run iRacing at 120 frames, especially in larger packs, have no fear. You can still run your frames at 90 frames per second, because that's divisible into 360 4 times. Realistically, when you're sim racing, you do want as many frames as you can possibly get. Unfortunately, with iRacing being on DX11 still, not quite onto DX12 along with the other more modern sims, it can get quite single core heavy on the CPU. Meaning that on busier tracks and heavier grids, your CPU can get quite a workout on just one single thread. And then in comes a bottleneck, and then comes a microstutter. So I choose 120 frames because I can consistently run 120 frames without any frame degeneration. And for reference, I run an RTX 5070 with a Ryzen 9 7900. Now this might sound very counterintuitive, but just bear with me, don't go anywhere, because we're going to fix what we're going to break right now. We are purposely going to switch off Nvidia Reflex. Now, you might be thinking, why would I switch that off in a sim race? I want as little latency as possible, but just trust me, if it is left on, you will not be able to set one max pre-rendered frame. Now, what a max pre-rendered frame is basically just a framing queue, so once you've had a frame shown, it will show another frame, and everything's hunky-dory, everything's nice and smooth. You can set more pre-rendered frames, however, The more you set, the more latency you're going to get, and we're going to go and fix the Nvidia Reflex latency right now. If in the Nvidia app you don't have iRacing showing, I will put that path in the description for you to copy and paste into your own file explorer. This is so that you can manually put iRacing into your Nvidia app settings. Feel free to copy these settings, but now let's fix that latency issue we've just now caused. You want to be turning low latency mode on, vertical sync off, global max frame rate off, this is preferable for all games, power management mode prefer maximum performance, and texture filtering tried linear optimization on. These are the most influential settings in the Nvidia app to reduce latency and eliminate microstutter. And turning the low latency mode on here just replaces the Nvidia Reflex option inside iRacing settings. However, if you are on a AMD card, you want to be looking for AMD Radeon Anti-Lag 1 or 2. That is essentially the same thing as low latency mode to my knowledge. Now that I said that you want your global max frame rate switched off, and that is because it's preferable to have your frame limit set in game. Having two programs trying to set the frame limit can cause a clash, and that clash usually comes across in the form of a microstutter. So turn it off here and turn your frame limit on in iRacing. If you've got this far into the video, congratulations, you've just eliminated your microstutter and reduced your input lag and latency even more than you ever have done before. However, if you are still having issues, don't be afraid, just let me know in the comments and I'll do everything in my power to help you out. Thanks again, especially for you guys that have liked the video, commented, or even subscribed. Absolute damn legends. I really appreciate the support. I'll see you in the next one. Catch you later, guys.